What is up, y'all? And welcome back to episode 20 of That's No Moon Pod. 5 months straight, every Wednesday, dropping an episode. I gotta say, it's been a little easier than I thought, to be honest, uploading consistently every week. I'm hopping on here, giving my thoughts on some things that I find interesting throughout the week, and talking for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes an hour, but just having the focus to do it every week. It's like just forming a habit pretty much at this point. But it's also something that I've enjoyed doing along the way. And especially when it comes to things like Star Wars and Marvel comic books, DC, UFOs, you name it. Anything that interests me and anything that I find worthy to share my thoughts on, I'm excited to keep going with this pod. And whoever it is that's listening to this right now, I want to really thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you stick around for the next 20 episodes and the next 20 after that. But in this episode, I really wanted to talk about, obviously, we just got episode 6, season 3 of The Mandalorian, and definitely have a lot of thoughts and questions on the latest episode for sure, which I'm sure I could see already from the comments on Twitter and YouTube, Instagram, on all the platforms, people chiming in on what they thought of the latest episode of The Mandalorian. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the Blue Beetle trailer that dropped. We got a lot of new upcoming movie trailers this past week with the new Into the Spider-Verse Sony animated. We got a lot of new on-set photos of Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga and the Joker 2, which I think just wrapped filming. And yeah, I really want to talk about the Blue Beetle trailer for sure, though, because that movie looks awesome. And coming off that flop of Shazam 2, I think DC's got a sneaky win coming down the line with Blue Beetle. And yeah, I guess let's just talk about The Mandalorian, because, okay, episode 6, with 2 episodes left in the season, and so far, I don't know where we go from here, story-wise, because, for one, just to skip to the end, Din gives Bo-Katan the Darksaber right after she challenges the Axe guy or whatever, the new leader of her old clan of Mandalorians, with Sasha Banks and their whole fleet of Mandalorians who went rogue. She whoops on their new leader, Homeboy. He starts talking, and then Din's like, well, I'll just give her the Darksaber because I was defeated and captured by some random on Mandalore, and she swooped in and saved me. So she defeated my defeater. So she is the rightful wielder of the Darksaber now. And to be honest, I felt that to be kind of underwhelming. I thought maybe they could have built up her eventually getting the Darksaber a lot better. Maybe right there on the spot, Din's like, I'll challenge you in front of all your people right here, and if you beat me fair and square, I'll be willingly happy to give you the Darksaber. But instead, they kind of do this little technicality, and Bo-Katan now has a Darksaber with this whole fleet again. And the episode ends right there, and it kind of just leaves you thinking, okay, these last two episodes really have to push whatever story they're deciding to tell this season. These last two episodes are going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting to see where we go, not only from each episode, but where we go once this season wraps. Because I know we got Skeleton Crew coming out and Ahsoka, which I think they might try to do some kind of tie-in at the end of this season with one of those two shows. We've already gotten hints with Zeb and the space whales, so they could possibly be setting something up big at the end of this season. But I mean, just to get back to the episode, there was some cool things that I really liked. That intro with the Mandalorians with Sasha Banks and Bo-Katan's old crew coming up on those like the fish species ship, and they're saying you gotta hand over this guy because we know you're hiding him, and it's because y'all had a thing for each other, and they're trying to take this guy, but he's in love with the captain of this ship, and they're having like this weird kind of, I thought we had feelings, you had feelings for me, was it just like a fling type of deal? And they're having like this weird kind of argument over like this love thing going on between them, and I don't know, it was just a weird way to start off this episode, and it kind of lets you know where this episode goes from there on. Then Grogu and Bo all flying in space, and they come up to this planet where they get tractor beamed into this zone near the city, and nothing's happened at all so far. And then next thing you know, we walk into a room, and Jack Black is sitting at the end of the table next to Lizzo, and you're just like taken out from seeing these two specific people in this Star Wars universe looking like, I don't know, it just felt like an SNL type skit, you know? Like I don't know, Jack Black was the host and Lizzo was the musical guest, right? And then they shoot this random Star Wars skit on SNL. So it really kind of took me out a little bit seeing them specifically. Lizzo's not a good actress. I love Jack Black. But I mean, if you're going to have Jack Black in Star Wars, you got to at least put him in some kind of suit, costume, cover his face, make him do a voice, and that's how you're able to get away with that. It's not like throwing in Andy Serkis and Andor, and us not being able to tell the difference between Kino Loy and Snoke, right? And so the whole thing with Lizzo and Jack Black is Mando and Bo-Katan have to figure out this droid problem that they got in the city of droids malfunctioning. And so they go talk to the guy in charge, and it's Dr. Emmett Brown, Christopher Lloyd. And he's talking about, well, yeah, I'm in charge, blah, 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 this and that. You got to talk to these guys that work on the droids, which are Quill's people from season 1, R.I.P. I have spoken. And Din and Bo-Katan go and talk to them, and they're able to get info from them, and they eventually get led to the old, droids from Separatist, from like the Clone Wars, and they're all working labor jobs, and Din's trying to poke the bear with them and try to get them to act crazy. And sure enough, one of the droids fights back and takes off running. And then now we got a chase on our hands. But honestly, this part of the episode was probably my favorite part, was whenever the droid takes off and then Mando and Bo-Katan are chasing it through the city. I thought the scene it looked cool. It had like some cool spots in it. While it was going on, though, I couldn't help but think, I was like, man, this would have been a cool way to start this episode off, instead of how it started off with that weird scene of that fish love affair scene at the beginning. Like, if we just jump straight into this episode with this chase scene between Bo and Mando, and then if you're going to have Jack Black and Lizzo, throw them in real quick after this chase scene and just give us the gist on why exactly Mando and Bo were chasing this droid in the first place through the city. And then they dip out, and then the rest of the episode is Bo-Katan and Mando trying to find Bo's old crew of Mandalorians, instead of just this weird just nonsense in between, because when it just doesn't feel right, you could just tell, to be honest, especially in Star Wars. It kind of reminded me of some scenes in She-Hulk a little bit, to where you could just see it not, it just doesn't feel right, it just doesn't fit in the universe. Like, say what you want about Andor, at no point during Andor did I feel the way this episode made me feel, to where it like took me out of the universe, I know some people will say that Andor didn't feel like Star Wars to them, but the things in this episode of Mandalorian didn't feel like Star Wars a whole lot more than anything I felt in Andor. In Andor, I was invested in the universe that I was in while watching the show. So it played for me in Andor because the writing, at least, and the dialogue were so well done that, even if the scene may have been slow or boring to some, at no point did they throw in any scenes with like a Jack Black or Lizzo type character and just completely kind of throw off your vibe of just watching the show. And like I said, there were some things that I liked. This was probably for sure my least favorite episode of the season so far. And it sucks because, it's episode 6. There's only 2 left. It's been years since we've gotten The Mandalorian from where we left off in season 2. And it's starting to look like more and more that they probably should have left Grogu with Luke more, to where Grogu probably shouldn't have been in this season at all, if just maybe a quick couple of scenes throughout, just kind of checking in on him, because the show is pretty much focusing now, or at least has been, on Bo-Katan and her kind of where she's gonna be fitting in throughout this show, with either ruling Mandalore with the Mythosaur. Now she got the Darksaber, but what's up with Mando? What's up with Din after he gets redeemed, right? Which we resolved that pretty quickly. Are we just kind of going on another adventure, but with Bo-Katan now from here on out? And then, maybe it kind of sets something big up for Mando and Grogu at the end of the season. Because, that was one of the things about last week, though. Even though I really enjoyed last week's episode, just kind of felt like still, where exactly are we going with Mando and Grogu? Besides that flashback with him in the armor, it was just kind of like, well, what's next, right? He saw the space whales. They've left little breadcrumbs here and there, but the pacing of the show this season has just been kind of up and down. So it makes you kind of forget things and really have to remember, like, oh yeah, okay, well, this happened here and this happened there. And it's just weird because, like I said, on how long we waited from season 2 to here to where we are now, you would think maybe they would form some kind of way to make each episode flow a lot better, instead of kind of feeling like they were written on the spot pretty much, at some points at least. I think this season still has some hope, though, for not being a complete, at least like a complete dud pretty much, if nothing huge ends up happening. But I think we all know something big is going to happen. I just wish the pacing of the story had been a little bit tighter than what it's been. And hopefully no more Jack Black, Lizzo type deals. But still here, still excited for episode 7. And yeah, let me know what y'all thought. I'm sure this episode's gonna have a lot of discussion within the next couple of days. just let me know what you thought. And with that, I'll go straight into something a little bit more positive that's happened this week with these new movie trailers that we've been getting. And right away, boom, I want to talk about Blue Beetle. Everyone was talking about what's up with Blue Beetle. Is it going to be connected with James Gunn's DC universe going forward? Is the movie in trouble? Is it, are they going to kind of just try to bury it a little bit? Kind of like how Shazam 2 got done. But I had kept hearing that people saying that it was good. And sure enough, the trailer comes out, and I couldn't have been more surprised on how much I enjoyed the trailer. Blue Beetle's a cool character. I've never read any Blue Beetle comics necessarily, but I'm familiar with him and his relationship with Booster Gold, and if you played the Injustice games, Blue Beetle was one of my mains when I was really getting it after in the Injustice games with him. So when they announced that he was getting his own movie, it's like, oh, that's so cool. That's dope. I always wanted to secretly play Blue Beetle in a movie one day whenever the Injustice games were popping. But the guy they got to play Blue Beetle, he looks like he's killing it. I've never watched Cobra Kai, but I know he's from Cobra Kai. And I like how they're leaning into the Latino family, like that immigrant mentality with the whole family dynamic with him getting his powers and his family all freaking out, and they're probably gonna have something to do with helping him out and saving him at the end. But I think if they could kind of tie in whatever villain it is that he's fighting and whatever it is that he's going through with, trying to learn his new powers and figure out exactly what's going on. If they could tie it in nicely with a nice family dynamic at the end, I think it has a sneaky box office win, to be honest, for DC. George Lopez looks like he's going to be funny. The CGI look real cool. The suit looks awesome. Yeah, I'm actually really excited for Blue Beetle. I already was, to be honest, before the trailer, but seeing it, actually finally seeing what it's going to look like, got me even more hyped. Because Shazam 2 was a fart. I didn't even go see it, and I probably won't ever see it, to be honest. That's no diss to Shazam or anything like that. I thought the first movie was fine, but nothing to make me want a second one, to be honest. Unless, if The Rock wanted to go toe-to-toe with Zachary Levi with Shazam and Black Adam in the Shazam 2 sequel, that would have been dope. But The Rock ain't trying to, he's not trying to put anyone over. In the movie biz, he's got that old school wrestling mentality, but it's just, instead of wrestling at WrestleMania, it's Hollywood on the big screen, And yeah, just seeing kind of how that all played out was whack. But I'm glad Blue Beetle looks like it's still gonna get a W at the end. The Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the sequel, the full trailer, or at least another full trailer, finally dropped. And I think no matter what, this movie's going to be awesome, and it's going to do really well. this could have been one of those trailers, to be honest, though, that kind of didn't show as much as it did. I think sometimes, or a lot of times now, it seems like studios release a trailer for their movie, and it's like a complete rundown from beginning to end on what the story is, and sometimes they give away everything, and I kind of wish they would stop doing that and kind of just, give us the story notes on what what exactly are we going to be going through, some cool quick visuals, and then get us out of there. People are going to go see this movie regardless. The comic book fans, the kids, the families, all that. It's going to be good. You don't got to give us the whole synopsis, But still, I'm stoked for it, which I think everyone else is. And let me see. Oh yeah, I had heard some people making a big deal of George Lopez in that Blue Beetle trailer, where he says at the end, Batman is a fascist, and that line really got under a lot of, well, I guess not a lot, but there were some people that line got under their skin a bit. And it's just crazy how some people just take things said in a movie and they just run with it, and they just get overly offended for no reason at all, and they decide to get upset about it and say something hurtful or angry on the internet. And it's just like, when George Lopez said that in that trailer, I chuckled because having an immigrant family, that's just something that an older person in an immigrant family would say. That's just how it is. It just, that line felt familiar to me on just how it was delivered or how it was said, or how the timing of the joke was being portrayed right away. I was just, there was nothing to it that made me be like, oh, how can he say that? Batman's a fascist, this and that, all of this, just taking a complete, political view on just that one line said in this movie trailer is just crazy to, get so offended over that. But again, it's not like a whole lot of people were, but I just seen some people making a big deal of that. And it's always crazy on what people make a big deal out of nowadays, right? But to end this episode, I guess, on a little bit more of a better note, the Joker 2, the upcoming sequel to the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, has wrapped filming as of this recording. I just saw today, and it seemed like for the past couple weeks we just been getting these set photos from Joaquin Phoenix in full costume, running around the city again. Lady Gaga in her Harley Quinn outfit, and we just got a lot of cool set photos from the movie. And to know that they finally wrapped up, it's getting me excited for them to release a trailer soon, hopefully by this summer. I forget when exactly this movie comes out, but the set photos and the amount that they let get out, I gotta think that they got a trailer coming sooner rather than later. But I know there was a lot of talk about it being a musical, and I remember talking to my friend about this not too long ago, and we were just kind of saying, if it's gonna be a musical, I'm hoping that it's more of the lines where, not the whole movie just breaks out in song randomly, but if it kind of has something to do with him imagining things with Harley Quinn, maybe, she's his doctor and he ends up falling in love with her, and she ends up falling in love with him, which I'm sure is probably going to happen. But it's just whenever we're kind of getting inside each of their minds is whenever it kind of turns musically. I think that could work. I'm just hoping, obviously, they just don't break out in song randomly throughout the movie. But those set photos got me stoked. Speaking of Joker, and I guess just Batman in general, I want to talk about my favorite comic book that I've read this week of the new drops. And this one just came out yesterday. And if you're new here, follow me on Instagram at AdmireMyMoonSalt. I post a new comic on there damn near every day. So if you're into comics and or if you're not, but you want to get into comics and you don't know where to start off with within the new drops, I got you. Just follow me on my IG at AdmireMyMoonSalt. And my favorite comic book that I've read this week, well, at least one of them for sure, is it was Batman 134. That just came out yesterday. And this new Batman run, well, it's been going on for a minute, but it just seems like they've just been on a roll within the past couple of years with Batman. Also, Daredevil issue number 9 came out last week. The things that they're doing with Daredevil and the Punisher is just crazy. The layering of the storytelling with the cool action. Daredevil issue number 9, definitely top 2 favorite comic books I read this past week. And again, just follow me on my IG. Follow me on Twitch at AdmireMyMoonSalt. I've been trying to game on there a lot more recently too. And I'm going to keep this thing going on here as well. Like I said, 5 straight months of That's No Moon Pod. And we're going to go for 5 more straight. And then 5 more straight after that. Well, I guess I don't want to be, LeBron James up here and trying to, saying I'm going to win multiple championships in a row and all that. But I'm going to be consistent with it as humanly possible. And hopefully, if you're listening to this, you stick around. Like and subscribe. Comment down below what y'all thought. And yeah, y'all have a great rest of y'all's week. Y'all stay safe. And I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.